Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Faction Wars, a New World podcast. My name is Taylor Allen, and I am joined this week by one Joby Butler. Joby, hello. How are you doing?
Hello, Taylor. I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking.
Good,
Very
good, good.
excited to be here with you today.
We have a short episode this week, everyone, because Amazon Game Studios, who has been radio silent for 2 weeks, just posted today, hey, we're back from our holiday break, which I'm happy for them. I'm glad that they were able to take some time, get a break with their families and stuff. This game has been probably exhausting for the last 2 years of their lives, so glad they were able to take a little bit of a breather. But that means we don't really have any news, no patch notes, we don't have any new cosmetics coming out or anything like that. So this is going to be a little bit more of a relaxed episode, just kind of talking about the state of the game, what we've been doing lately. I want to talk a little bit about war meta and what at least we've been seeing on our server and kind of the state of the weapons and things like that. We will have a Joby's Lore Lowdown, episode 3 this week, which will be great for all you dorks out there. Yeah, nice short episode of Faction Wars this week. For those of you that don't know, though, Faction Wars, a New World podcast, has all of the latest news, tips, and tricks from around Eternum. If you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you give us a follow on your favorite podcast listening app. And if you're listening on iTunes, a review would be very much appreciated. If you want to support this podcast and help us grow even more, you can go over to patreon.com/dual-screen-streams, which is the home of Faction Wars, just like our Patreon producers, FNH Paul, Colton, The Apprentice Nestler, and Vegas Girl on Fire. This show could not exist without all of the incredible generosity from you folks. So if you help us over there, thank you all very, very much. Now, let's talk about some New World, Joe. I've been playing a bunch, and I'm very bummed out because for the next couple of days, I'm not going to be able to play because I'm going to CES for work. So I'm going to have to take a couple day break from the game, and I'm sad about it.
Yeah, that is sad, man. And I'm also sad about it because I won't be able to roam around Eternum with my good pirate buddy.
Yeah.
But CES is cool, so that'll be exciting. I think, you'll come back with a lot of fun, exciting technology-related experiences, so that's cool.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to be stuck in my company's booth the whole time, and I'm not going to get to see anything cool.
Have you ever done a booth-related activity like that before?
No, I haven't. This is a totally new experience for me. Never been to CES, never done a booth or anything, so we'll see how it goes, but it's a quick turnaround, man. I'm leaving tomorrow morning. So we're recording this Wednesday night. I leave Thursday morning, and then I come back Friday evening. So I just basically spend 2 days in a booth and then come home. I don't even get to spend an extra day hanging out in Vegas or whatever. So.
Well, I was gonna say, I've done a few booth activities, and I feel like one of the fun parts is getting to know all the other booth owners, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
It's usually I don't know, people are cool to each other and kind of become a little bit buddy, and especially at CES, I'm imagining there's probably some pretty cool people trying to show off their stuff. So I'm sure you'll meet some exciting, fun people.
Yeah, hopefully. I need to get in tight with the Samsung guys and get that dope new what was it? 55-inch massive curved monitor. You see that thing?
No, I haven't, but
they revealed it today. It's one of those ultra wide curved massive monitors, 8K or whatever. It's just so obscenely over the top, way more than anyone would ever need, but maybe if I get lucky, they can hook me up with one of those.
Yeah, man. One day we'll all just be strapped into our 8K curved monitor battle stations and live in the metaverse. It'll be great.
Yeah, have our haptic vests on and our VR helmets and whatnot.
Yep.
Unrelated to New World, very exciting, the news about PSVR 2. I'm excited about that. VR normally makes me hurl a little bit, makes me want to throw up, but I'm hoping maybe a little bit higher fidelity VR will make that a little better for me. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
I'll have to have one of my friends like you buy it, and then I'll come over and try it out.
that sounds like a good plan. I have a brother who works for Facebook, and they let their employees take home
Oh,
Oculus
nice.
Quests to like try them out for however long they want.
Yeah.
And so I got to go over and play a bit when I was visiting. But it's cool to see how much they're invested in VR. It's like one of their biggest things that they're investing in.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the biggest things is, yeah, trying to reduce sickness from using VR. So I'm sure one day you'll be able to enjoy it.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I can't wait to have those screens just strapped directly to my eyeballs.
Yep, it's gonna be great.
All right, Joe, let's talk a little bit about New World. I have noticed over the last month or so, probably, a shift in the meta when it comes to PvP. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit. And this may not be the case on all servers, but I've noticed, especially since the bulk of the server merges have been rolled out, that this shift at least if Reddit is a good indicator, has been pushing its way through the majority of servers. And that is the Void Gauntlet. Like, I was talking with other people in our faction in Discord today. We're wanting 20 to 30 Void Gauntlets in every war. Because the powers, like the ability modifiers that you can get on your gear are so strong. Nullifying Oblivion is one of the strongest abilities in the entire game.
Hey, wait, remind me which one that is.
So Oblivion is the one where you put the like big purple ring on the ground, and if you have Nullifying Oblivion, it removes all of the temporary buffs from all of the enemies standing within the circle. So you can just send like a suicide bomber into like the pack of enemies that have sacred ground and beacon and stuff all over them, drop a nullifying oblivion, and all of that's gone. They don't get the healing from sacred ground anymore. They don't get the healing from beacon. They lose their fortify. Like, all of those temporary timed buffs get totally wiped out.
Wow.
And you can just melt an entire group. So you sacrifice one person, but then you have everyone go in with hammer CCs and gravity wells, and you keep them in that circle and just beat them down. And it's insane how quickly like you can target anti-heals, you know?
Well, yeah, that's huge. I didn't realize that it would take out things like, because I've heard of that. Obviously, like Void Gauntlet's kind of a debuff, or
Mm-hmm.
like a, yeah, that type of weapon. But like I didn't realize it could take down things like Sacred Ground or
Yep.
like active abilities that other people are using. But that's really cool.
Yeah. And that's why the Void Gauntlet charms for nullifying sacred ground and putrefying scream are selling for so much on all the servers right now. Like I sold a Void Gauntlet charm for putrefying scream for like 6K the other day.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Does that add disease to the scream ability?
Yeah, so it adds disease. They're obviously rooted, and they have like a 30% reduction to all healing. So if you can do that into a big group and you've got a lot of CC, you put down your nullifying oblivion, do putrefying scream, then you have your people just wail on them like it's a death sentence.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's huge.
and so everyone who's going really hard in PvP right now are scrambling to get these modifiers on their gear to make sure that they can take advantage of it. And I've seen so many different combinations. Like, we've been talking about tanks using sword and shield and Void Gauntlet on war defense. Like a Warhammer Void Gauntlet or Great Axe Void Gauntlet. Obviously, you've got like the mage and the healer builds that kind of play in it too, where people are using Life Staff Void Gauntlet, or people are using Ice Gauntlet, Void Gauntlet, things like that. And it's just so powerful. I have a feeling that those abilities are likely going to get nerfed in the near future, because the negation of all of the buffs can like turn the tide of a fight so quickly. I feel like it's tuned a little bit too strong. I think putrefying scream is probably fine. Maybe if the root was a little bit shorter.
Well, so I'm assuming with putrefying scream, the disease, like because it's not like a fixed percentage, is it? Does I would assume it scales off of like your focus or your intelligence or something, right?
No, the disease is 30%. It's a
It's just
30%
always thirty
reduction to
percent.
healing. Yeah.
Because I was gonna say like, what makes that especially strong is that it seems like those two, well, yeah, those two abilities like don't require you to be spec'd into whatever the Void Gauntlet
Yep.
is, right?
Exactly.
So you could have someone that's like all strength or all con or something go in and still get just as an effective of a debuff off. So
Yep.
that's pretty crazy.
Yep. Put like 50 points into focus or something just in case they need it. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's what everyone has been doing is they just spec as normal for the most part, and then have a Void Gauntlet as their secondary. So
Yeah.
obviously that loses a little bit of versatility. You're not seeing as many like Great Axe Warhammer users and stuff like that, but it has made having a Void Gauntlet and having a very good Void Gauntlet a must in those large scale PvP situations.
Yeah. Well, that's cool though. I always like when the meta for stuff like that gets thrown around a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that something is happening. But yeah, maybe they'll nerf it. Maybe they'll make it scale or something like that. But
Yeah.
kind of fun to see.
Yeah, I think what I would like to see from nullifying Oblivion to make it feel a little bit more balanced, instead of removing all temporary buffs, maybe it removes, it like shortens the buff by 50% or something like that, or
Hmm.
removes a couple of buffs, or removes a buff.
Well,
I
the
just
way
feel
I would
like,
think it should work would be like if the Oblivion lands on the person who created the effect, like for example, if a healer threw Sacred Ground down, they would have to throw the Oblivion on the healer in order for their Sacred Ground to go away.
mm,
That's how I
yeah,
would assume it would work. But to hear that it doesn't, makes me think maybe that's a way
yeah.
that they could
Well,
change it.
Oblivion, you're not like casting it. You go in and you are the epicenter of the circle. You put it down and it just creates a ring like sacred ground on the ground.
Hmm.
And so everyone in that loses all of their buffs. So that's why
Right.
it's super easy to just run into the middle of a point. You have someone that's spec'd with 150 con, 200 con, in like medium armor, so that they can get into the middle, put it down, and then it doesn't matter if they die because the rest of your army can just melt them. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Kind of cool though.
Yeah. So the only way around that is if you step out of sacred ground and then step back in, then you begin healing again. But if
Oh,
you're in
interesting.
it, you drop it and they don't move out of it, then they lose all of that healing.
Hmm.
So,
That's cool. So are you trying to run that since you play with Void Gauntlet?
yeah, I spent a lot of money this week getting different things crafted. I crafted a bunch of new armor. I got a new ring and everything. Made sure that I had nullifying oblivion and putrefying scream and stuff. And I was actually in a war today that it felt really good. And I was kind of like off healing, so I was support healing on a flank squad, but my primary role was like if a point was getting pushed and we were outnumbered, my role was to go in, drop oblivion, drop putrefying scream, and let everyone know so that they can rain down the hammers and the gravity wells.
Yeah, that's awesome,
So
dude.
like my placement in the war wasn't as good. Like my points overall weren't great, but I had like 200 assists because like
Yeah.
everyone inside of Oblivion, it counted as an assist if they died.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Um so yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a fun experience, and in talking with some of the other leaders on our server, they are really wanting to double down on the Void Gauntlet. So,
Mhm.
um, I would say if your server isn't doing this yet, whether it's just your faction and the main faction you're fighting against is, or no one on your server is doing it because they don't realize how powerful it is, jump into the Void Gauntlet. Make sure you're taking advantage of nullifying oblivion and putrefying scream, because it can turn the tide of fights so quickly.
Well, it sounds like if your server isn't doing this yet, maybe it's a good time to try and grab some of those crafting components
Yeah,
that give you those.
a
Um,
hundred
yeah,
percent.
I got to go check and see if I have any of those and see if I can sell any.
Yeah, timeless void gauntlet shards.
Oh yeah,
If you can
those are super
grab
valuable.
components to craft nothingness, which is the 600 gear score legendary void gauntlet, um, like do whatever, do whatever you can, because as more people start catching on and start jumping into the void gauntlet meta, you're gonna see prices on all that stuff go up. I saw a number of posts on Reddit recently that some people were still kind of frustrated with like the musket bow meta or you know the great axe warhammer. So get ahead of the curve if your server isn't actively pushing a ton of void gauntlets yet, because it's a very, very powerful weapon in large scale PvP, and you want to make sure that you are the ones using it first. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. I thought it was really interesting seeing that the meta over the last month or so in Wars shift as drastically as it has. Um, you know, moving away from a bunch of like musket dex users and stuff, and then away from the big CC meta towards Void Gauntlet and you know, more like anti-healing abilities and stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's really cool, and it's exciting. I think when changes like that happen, it makes me excited to get more into wars because so far I really haven't at all yet. um, but like I don't know that component itself just kind of adds a whole other like entirely different spectrum to the game that I haven't even jumped into it all yet. So very exciting to hear about it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, like theory crafting end game gear specifically for wars and stuff. Like I said,
Hmm.
I've spent way more money than I would like to admit on gear recently. I just bought a $5.99 ring with sacred on it. The
Another ring, or
no,
is this is
yeah,
the one that you showed
this
me?
is the
Okay,
one. Yeah, this is the one that I showed you that I spent 30K on.
this is so
Uh,
crazy.
but like it, it you know, it has refreshing move, which every time I dodge I'm getting cooldown reduction, and as a healer you're dodging all the time because you get increased healing after dodging, and so like I'm reducing
Oh,
my
that's cool.
cooldowns and getting yeah, it's a passive in one of the trees.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm dodging all the time, and so I'm reducing my cooldowns, plus it has sacred on it, which is like one of the rarest crafting mods in the game. It only drops from a handful of locations, and so having sacred on it, having it really high gear score, having refreshing move, like it's basically best in slot without being a 600 gear score ring
Hmm.
for a healer. And so I knew I had to get on it if I wanted to be um, involved in like wars and serious PvP, because our server is getting sweatier and sweatier as it as it comes to PvP. So
Yeah, which is cool. I like that. I'm excited to get more into it.
yeah. On the other side of the
Awesome.
coin, I have been going hard on the aptitude chests.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have a couple. So I have gathering, mining, and logging all up to aptitude 7.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
That's pretty good.
skinning for whatever reason takes so long.
Yeah. It's so slow. I don't know why. I think maybe they were like, man, it was way too easy to get to 200 for skinning, so now we're
Yeah,
gonna make you pay for it on the back end.
yeah, exactly, exactly. But it took forever. I was farming boars up in Eden Grove for ever, like
Hmm.
hours, you know, just stacking ironhide, probably 7,000 ironhide that I gathered, and I'm not
Jeez.
even at aptitude 1 yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, or
Same
maybe
thing.
I
I'm pretty
just hit
far
aptitude 1.
behind.
Yeah. So,
Dang.
I've been going hard on the gathering and the crafting and stuff. Um I finally have all of my refining up to 200. So I
Oh,
can,
you did get that? That's awesome.
yeah, I pushed it over the edge before I went out of town, because I knew that I wanted to have that stuff going, and realizing after I, crafted a bunch of things this week, how expensive Asmodium and Phoenix Weave and all that stuff is. Like,
Yeah,
I
it's so
have to
expensive.
just make this stuff myself.
And you need so much of it if you want to
Mm-hmm.
craft like really high level stuff. So
Yeah.
good on you for getting those all up to 200. That's great.
Yeah. Been crafting my keys on cooldown, making
Hmm.
sure that I have all my dungeon keys and stuff in place. I've been hoarding those. But it's been a lot of fun. Like, I was not interested in the crafting and gathering side of the game for a long time, and the aptitude system has been so rewarding that it makes me want to do it. And I'll just go out and farm resources for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit nervous that they're going to nerf it, just a hair,
You
because
think so?
I have 200 vials of Azoth in my inventory, and
That's great.
I use it very liberally. I fast travel everywhere now. I don't have to walk anywhere. And I'm still just gaining so many bottles of Azoth that I like can't even keep up. I don't even
Yeah.
care to empty my inventory before I fast travel anymore. 350 Azoth to fast travel? Okay, whatever. No problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got 200 bottles of vials of Azoth or whatever. So
That's
that's
really
fine.
cool. Yeah. I need to be more like you and fast travel more.
It's so
Um,
worth it, dude. It's so
yeah.
worth it.
I
I
just
still
always have so much stuff in my inventory, man.
yeah, but that's what, getting these aptitude chests are for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
just
it's true.
stack all your
I'll be
Azoth.
sad if they nerf that and start not giving as much Azoth because it honestly like I've recently been starting to use it a bit more and like not be as worried about going through all my Azoth so quickly, and it's very freeing to feel
Yeah.
like I can just jump around where I need to go.
I think at most before the aptitude system came out, I had like 10 vials of Azoth in my inventory at any given time.
Yeah, and they were so expensive if you wanted to buy
Mm-hmm.
any.
Yep.
It was like, yeah, they were
And
very, very
and now
valuable.
they are dirt cheap. I mean, I still think they're going to continue going down, but I think on our server as of today, they're under 20 gold per. When right before aptitude, they were going for around 100. So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah.
Which, by the way, guess what charcoal is at as of today?
Oh no, is it below 20 cents?
It's like at 20 cents,
Uh,
which feels pretty bad.
People are starting
But
to
I mean,
catch on.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I haven't like gone too crazy trying to sell charcoal, but I did sell like a few thousand, and now it doesn't feel as worth it. But
Yeah. When I was at my heyday of selling charcoal, they were going for like 45 cents per. Like
yeah,
I
that's
was
awesome.
rolling in it. Same with hyssop. I've noticed hyssop is going down in price a little bit on our server. I don't know if that's normal for all servers though. Because I feel like a lot of people are crafting potions right now to try and get aptitude chests and try and level arcana, and so they're
Yeah.
just like spam crafting potions, but for whatever reason hyssop on our server is still going down in price.
Mm.
Um but what's going up in price is all of the refined materials. If you want to make some money, you can sell star metal ingots or calcum ingots. Silk is going for a good amount. Layered leather and infused leather is going for a good amount. All of those like tier 4 and tier 5 refined, or tier 3 and tier 4. What is it? Whatever.
I think it's 4 and 5.
Yeah, tier 4 and tier 5 refined materials are selling for a ton. They've gone up like 50% in the last week on our
Oh,
server. So
that's crazy. Do you know why, or is it just like a weird little fad thing, or
no,
do you think there's like a good reason?
I think there are a couple of reasons behind it. One, I think timeless shards are encouraging more people to craft more often.
Yeah,
Being
that
able
makes
to
sense.
lock in an attribute and a perk makes it so that you have to deal with RNG less and crafting is more rewarding. And so people aren't hoarding their material as much. And so, they're either using it or buying more of it on the market. To either use that stuff or to combine to hit their cooldowns for Asmodium and Phoenix Weave and all of that. So I think that's the biggest one. And I think the second reason is people are just naturally progressing in that point to that point in this game where they're okay. They have tons of money, right? A lot of people are sitting on a bunch of money, and so they're okay just sitting there trying to roll for best in slot 600 gear score gear. They have their 595 stuff. They want to try and just like min max that as much as they possibly can. And they're sitting on oodles of money.
I don't know. It seems like a weird thing to do, you know? I don't know why anyone would have lots of money. That seems like a bad idea.
No, it sounds like a great idea. I saw someone selling weaponsmith pants on our server today for 130K.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
I got a couple of the weaponsmithing. Like I have like the hat, which is pretty rare, and I think the shirt is pretty rare. And thinking about maybe selling them, but that's my thing, dude. What if I want to be a weaponsmithing champion one day? I won't
Yeah,
be able to if I don't have my fancy hat.
that's fair.
That's the
But
dilemma.
on the other side, if you decide 2 months down the road that you want to be a weaponsmithing boy, stuff will probably be cheaper because there's more in circulation.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that's true. Yeah, I just need to sell more stuff. Speaking of selling more stuff, though, guess what I found that is incredibly valuable?
What?
I found precision armoring tools, which was
Oh, dang.
so exciting. Holy cow. That's like exactly what I've been looking for because I've been at 200 armoring for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't really think it through too much because I got to 200 armoring and was like, great, I can
It's
make like
useless.
gear score 550 stuff, which is not very good.
Yeah.
So I need to get my trophies all set up and like the food and yeah,
The
all
town
that
buff
stuff.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm slowly working my way towards that. I've got a basic armoring trophy right now, and I just got precision armoring tools. So as soon as I get to 200 furnishing, I'll be able to make that, which is exciting. I have loaded dice as well,
Oh,
which
nice.
is really cool. So I've got like a lot of valuable items
Mm-hmm.
that I'm keeping for myself, but yeah, I do need to start selling stuff more. But that's cool to hear about the refined materials going for a good amount because that's I think where I've made the most money in the past is just going and
Mm-hmm.
farming a ton of like layered leather specifically and
Yeah.
selling that for a good amount. Um, Man, I did so much of that before the aptitude thing, and I'm really curious where my aptitudes would be at
Yeah.
if that had happened sooner because I did a lot of refining and crafting and gathering post 200 before that.
I'm glad that I was a lazy crafter before this
I know.
system because
Lazy crafters are being rewarded.
yeah,
It's not
it's
fair.
it's honestly so rewarding. Like that was my number one motivation to get my logging up. If that like wouldn't have been brought into the game, I probably still would be sitting here with 155 logging and just
Yeah.
been like whatever, I don't care. Like meh. I'll buy the glittering ebony on the freaking marketplace, whatever. But this system has made it so rewarding, and it like I don't know, it's fun to just like turn on some music and go up to Morningdale for 2 hours and get a bunch of silk and all of that stuff. I've really started to enjoy the gathering grind.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels good when you're getting rewarded for it. I
Mm-hmm.
still enjoyed it even before aptitude, but now it's like I'm back to where like everything I see I want to pick up,
Mm-hmm.
which is fun. Fun place to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to know if you're out of the poverty house yet. You've talked about how you have some really valuable stuff. What you failed to mention is a screenshot that you sent me in Discord a couple days
Yeah.
ago where you literally had 6 cents to your name.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does that even happen?
I literally spent all my money on pure solvent, man. Just trying to get that furnishing up to 200. It's so grindy.
But then you
Um
didn't even have enough money to use it. You had it and it was sitting there and then
well,
you couldn't do
I
anything with it.
yeah, I got it. I got my pure solvent and I had like 50 gold left,
Mm-hmm.
which for some reason in my mind was like okay. And then as soon as I crafted like the 2000 whatever like mahogany stain that was.
Hmm.
Um, I was down to 6 cents. So
I
yeah, it
cannot
just kind of
remember.
slipped by,
I
slipped by.
I cannot remember the last time I was below 10K.
That's crazy, man. I'm at 2,500 right now, and that's like if I'm like at 5K, I'm like, dang, I'm doing pretty good right now. I
I
need to go spend some money.
I feel like you perpetually live at 2500.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, man, I don't let my money just sit there and rot away doing nothing for me. I spend it, try and
But
keep
like
it flowing.
I am spending it also. Like I bought a bunch of gear. I paid to have a bunch of gear crafted for me.
Yeah,
I am making freaking keys every single week that cost me $1 million in
yeah, that's
moats
true.
and in corrupted runes and things like that. So
Yeah, I just need to spend time doing activities that will get me money just for the sake of getting me money instead of like trying to
yeah,
just have it magically happen as I do other stuff.
I bet you have like 2,000 infused silk. It would not
No, I
surprise me.
don't. I actually have zero infused silk. The only thing I have a lot of right now is infused leather, and that's because ARPG gave me a bunch to make some bags eventually for him.
How do you
But
have
I use
zero
everything as soon
infused
as I
silk?
get stuff. Yeah, I have zero.
What
I
do
have
you
zero.
use it for?
I make stuff, dude. I make lots of Phoenix weave. That's what I use the infused silk for. So I do have a ton of Phoenix weave right now, which is good.
Hmm.
But yeah, I use everything that I make pretty quickly.
That's wild to me because I'm sitting on like probably 1,000 infused leather, 700 infused
Jeez,
silk, and
man.
I'm still I'm making my runic leather and my phoenix weave and all that, but like I just have so much of that stuff stockpiled that I'll just like shave a little bit off. I'll go sell 100 on the marketplace if I'm feeling poor.
Yeah. Well,
So
I'm gonna start doing more stuff. I'm gonna get out of the poor home and join you in Eternum's equivalent of Beverly Hills.
you
It'll
better
feel
hurry,
good.
man. They're gonna put the taxes back to normal, and you're not gonna know what
Oh,
to do with yourself. Can you
that's
imagine?
gonna be a very sad day. Holy cow.
Yeah, better hurry that up.
Yeah. I'll
So,
get there.
if anyone listening is playing on US East, oh, how do you say our server's name? Is it Ogija?
Oh yeah, I
Ogija?
think it's Ogygia. Ogygia.
Ogija?
Like a yeah.
You know what server it is if you're on it. If you're playing on that server, Lambent Sage is his name. Send him a little donation in game because he's big poor.
Send me a donation. I'll write you a small poem. It'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be Lord of the Rings themed.
I've actually I was I was watching someone stream New World, and they were talking about people going and being town bards and just like turning on their mic and like actually like playing music or singing or something, and people will just give them tips in like
That's
in-game
amazing.
currency. I was like, man, that is the coolest thing ever. That's how I want to
Yeah,
make my money. Except for I can't do anything that's worth tipping.
yeah.
But I don't know. I'll go and like make a bunch of puns and see if people will throw gold at me.
When I was playing the closed beta, there was someone who spent their entire time in the closed beta sitting on the Windsward Bridge, completely naked, and just kept typing in area chat over and over, like donations for the poor. And they just sat there, and people would come up and like give them 10 gold or whatever. And they just sat on the
That's
bridge the entire time. So
sounds like a very rewarding way to play this game. That's
yeah,
great.
totally. All right,
That's
Joe.
funny, man.
Let's catch some lore with
Okay.
Joby's lore lowdown. Episode 3, and then
Episode
we'll take it
3.
on home.
Okay. Let me just pull open my my lore book here. I wanted to talk a little bit about a cool little place um down in Reekwater called Sileo Seco. Do you know where that is?
Is that the like little ancient temple in the
Mhm.
southeast corner?
Yep, yep. I'm very proud of you. I'm glad that you knew what that was. Well done,
See,
sir.
I had to
Well
go
done.
back and forth there a bunch because that's where the 580 Void Gauntlet quest is. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, cool area. I like that place a lot. I
uh-huh.
think it has the same layout as like, or at least a similar layout to like Scorpius or
Yeah.
the other one like that. But it's a cool place. So Reekwater obviously. with regards to lore is primarily kind of dominated by the story of the Siren Queen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the big elite area there um, is kind of her domain, her territory.
Mm-hmm.
And the Siren Queen, I think, is like I think her story and that whole situation going on down there is probably the coolest like bit of lore in the game, to me at least. Um, but this is kind of just like a little bit of a side story that pertains to her. So there's a guy that's kind of investigating Celio Secco and trying to discover a little bit more about like what the ancients were doing there. And something that they talk about in their journal is that the Siren Queen's crew um, like combed over that area and took all the ancient relics with them back to their fortress. Um, and they find like a tablet or something that had fallen in between like a deep crack or whatever that the Siren Queen's crew missed. Um, and it like basically draws the ancient guardians to it. If he like touches it or invokes it or whatever. But it was really interesting to kind of think about, I guess, like the Siren Queen's crew being lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to work with and discover more about the ancients, because the ancients, their primary thing was that they had control over Azoth, which is like some strange vague way related to the soul, and the lost don't have their souls.
Mm-hmm.
And if you read a lot of the Siren Queen's like journal entries and stuff, she's a bit remorseful about her kind of fall to insane ruler of this like soulless crew and eventual like civilization. And it makes me wonder if maybe there was a bit of like a research project going on where they were trying to figure out, is there a way to fix this, or a way to get the soul back, or return a bit of the person's character back to them if they were lost at some point. Because the Siren Queen is lost, but she has complete control over her, like she's still herself, but she just doesn't have a soul.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas other lost don't have a soul and are therefore not themselves. So kind of an interesting thing there. Lots of like open questions and implications that could be investigated further. If they start to drop more story bits with areas like the Siren Queen's place and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So some interesting food for thought. That that is it for today.
Very
Thanks for
cool.
coming.
Thank you for being a huge dork and telling me these stories so that I don't have to read them in game.
I gotta know, you're at least like mildly interested in the story of this game that you play so much of, right? Or
I
is it all
I
just numbers
like
and cool pirate outfits?
Here's the thing. I like having you explain the lore to me. I don't like reading the notes. That's boring.
See, that's the part that's fun to me, is discovering the neat little tidbits and connections in the notes.
Yeah,
And
I
there's a ton of them. Like, they were really good about writing interesting stuff in this game. It's just
yeah,
like
it sounds like it.
behind a layer of MMO gameplay that is kind of difficult to look past.
Yeah, it sounds like it. That's why I enjoy hearing it from your mouth directly. It's great. I'm sure all of our listeners appreciate it too. It
Yeah,
gives
I'm
them a
sure
little
it's
more
their favorite
context.
part.
Yeah, gives them a little more context after they kill the Lazarus boss for the 150th time.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Which is a cool thing to do. Did we talk about that? That we did that? We did. We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
But we did it for a second time, and it was exciting. That's a
I
very fun part of the game.
I've ran it like 15 times.
Oh, I've still only done it twice. I'm not hardcore like you, I guess.
Yeah. I'm out here paying for keys, bro. Like it's
Ah.
it's getting real. There are some people. I saw a dude posting in global chat the other day saying that he was charging 5K per slot for Lazarus.
What?
Yeah. That seems a little
That is
much for me.
nuts, dude.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But people are willing
I
to pay 3K without even thinking about it to run Laz. So,
yeah. Yeah. I think once I get my furnishing to 200, I'm gonna like calm down a little bit on trying to level all my things and just spend a little bit more time maybe trying to build out like a good PvP uh build and like set of gear and stuff, and maybe make some money.
yeah.
We'll see. Because I've been like really hard focusing on leveling up everything, so
Maybe one day you'll make some money.
maybe we'll see.
Maybe one day. All
Stay
right,
tuned.
guys. thank you all so much for listening to Faction Wars this week. If you liked what you heard, subscribe to the YouTube. Make sure you give us a review over on Apple Podcasts. Apple's doing this new thing where you can't just go and subscribe to a channel and then immediately leave a review. You have to actually download and play an episode to be able to leave a review. Wow. So if you're listening on other platforms and you want to help us out, it helps us a ton within Apple's algorithm to gain those reviews. So if you can, go download an episode, let it play while you're sleeping or something, leave us a review there, and then listen on your platform of choice after. That would be very much appreciated. If you want to support the channel even more, you can go over to patreon.com/NDS podcasts. That is the mother brand, I think is what we'll call it. The mother brand of Faction Wars. Not only will you get, Faction Wars on a unique feed and everything over there, you'll get access to the Dual Screens Discord. You'll be able to write into the shows, including Crossplay Podcast and the Dual Screens Podcast. So definitely go check that out. Just like our Patreon producers, FNH Paul, Colton the Apprentice, Nestler, and Vegas Girl on Fire. We will be back next week, hopefully with some news on the January PTR. I'll tell some stories about how I probably got sick at CES. And until next time, keep smashing those ancient bones.
Yeah.
Peace.